Here are the instructions on how to install the pump. Here's your layout. You do have to buy your own battery for this. So at minimum, I would use like a 750 amp hour battery, 12-volt battery, just a regular RV or a marine battery you can get at the hardware store for about $110. This is the recommended position of the controller. I have it mounted on the top of the battery box, so it's not 3 feet. I mean, I think the 3 feet minimum is just in case you flood. That way the controller stays dry. Here's the hookup. The wire from the battery is actually two wires to the positive and negative. And then the battery charger, that's a plug that gets plugged in to the outlet. Your backup pump, that is a wire that goes over to your DC backup pump. And then this is the plug that plugs in here, and it's connected to your float switches. And there's actually two of them. There's a float switch. We'll look at it here. You can see the float switch at the top there. That's for the DC powered battery here. And then your main float is for your AC battery or your AC pump. And then this is the book on everything. It's mostly the safety features. Again, it's showing you how to set up the pump and measure everything. Fortunately, I had everything cut just about right from the old pump I had. So all I had to do was swap out the connector. They have a 2-inch connector, and I have like a 2-inch to 1 3/4 inch adapter on mine. So I just took it off the old pump. Over here, they explain what these lights mean on the top of the controller, so you can find out like if they're flashing or if they're not, or if they're a different color. It's going to tell you what the situation is. And they have a way to connect this to your phone. It's called Z Control. I'm not going to do that, but they have that here, and you just follow these instructions here and it'll tell you how to do that. All right, today's the day. We're going to change this sump pump out. It's been dry for several days, and it should be dry for at least 1 or 2 more days. There's absolutely nothing dripping into the sump tank right now. So this is going to be a good day to get this thing changed out. So far, what I've done is I took off some of the wire ties, finished doing that, and then we're going to disconnect power and then go from there. So I'll be right back in just a minute. All right, so we disconnected the power and I removed this 12-volt power supply from the battery. And guys, this is one thing you want to do. If this is good, you want to keep these kind of things. You never know when you might need a 12-volt power supply. This actually can handle 1.6 amps. And so we'll keep that. I'm not going to throw anything out, actually. I'm going to keep the whole controller. Might be able to use it for something else. We still got lights on it, and that's because we're still hooked to the battery. So that'll be the next step, is removing the controller from the battery. So everything is opened up now, and I've got to disconnect this battery, so I'll be right back. I've got to grab a couple of tools, and we'll start on that. All right, so we're using a 1/2-inch wrench on here. I've got these loosened up. Okay, that's unhooked. Now we'll just unhook our negative side. And after I get this done, I'm going to get some gloves on. I got to get some safety glasses on too, just to be on the safe side. I got all that unhooked. I'm going to leave those washers on. And we're going to lift that battery out of there. Set that right there. Bring All right. All we've got to do now is just take. This. There's actually a screwdriver down in there. We'll get that out when we put the new one in. So here's the progress report here. Here's everything out of the sump pump pit. We'll be putting the battery back in, but we're going to put it in this new container. And then I'll prep this after I clean the pit. And we'll get this ready to mount in. Looks like we might have plenty of extra tubing, so hopefully I'll be able to get it in there and angle it in there and then slide it up under the blocks, because it was kind of a tight fit getting the old one out. That fitting there. Well, let's wipe this mess up, and then we're going to grab some of this junk out of the pit. Don't want that sucking up into the pump. So we're going to get some of that garbage out of there right now. First thing is that screwdriver. Bunch of junk. Yeah, then we got some rock or some crap under here. There's junk in there all over. It's not too bad, but this kind of sucks having to reach in here. But the water's pretty clean. I mean, it's not sewer water. I've got to clean up this pipe right here. A little bit of sandpaper will take care of that, and then we'll have a good tight fit when we put the new one in. I gotta sand that up. Get it cleaned up. We have to go prep this other pump and make sure everything's tight on it before we submerge it. And it's a DC pump that plugs in right there. DC power supply goes right here. That's this guy. Hopefully we got enough room for that to reach down. don't want to have to put that on an extension cord until I can get a box put down lower, but I think that will reach. Take a look at that right now, make sure that's going to reach. Controller. I can put the controller up higher too if need be. Let's take a look. We'll see if that's going to reach. So it's going to go here. So that should reach the controller with no problem. We'll put it right on top of the battery for now. All right. The electric powered pump is this guy right there. And that cord looks plenty long enough. And then this will be our DC powered pump. Again, it's long enough there. So we'll stretch that out like that. And get that brick down here ready. Just make sure the clamp on the bottom is tight. All right, so what I've got here is the 2-inch to 1 3/4 fitting from the old pump. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. This one here is a 2-inch to 2-inch, so we had to take that off and put this one on. So I'll be right back. We're going to clean that up. All right, so we have the fitting from the other pump, and I cleaned it up with a little bit of soap and water, and it's all set to go. So we'll install that first. All right, guys, there's the pump set up. I had to go outside and get another brick, and I put all 3 bricks underneath the DC pump. That's going to support it good. I had to reconnect this here. It was a little bit crooked right there, and just lower the float a little bit. So now we got to get the covers back on this thing so I can get the battery and everything hooked up. And I don't want to have to redo it. It'd probably be easier to leave the covers off and test it that way, but I think what I'm going to do is put it together. I feel pretty confident that everything is good. All right, we got the battery in, and the wires are coming out of the pit. So here's the controller, and I've got to take these wires, hook them to the battery first. So I'm going to set the controller over there, out of the way, and then it's just a simple positive negative hook up here. So I'm going to go with the positive first. Now wire and nut. Okay, and this one shouldn't be any spark because there's really no nothing under any load. So far, that's hooked to the battery now. All right, everything's green now. So now I can go eat, and then I'll come back and clean all this up. All we had to use was the nut driver, and pretty much it. I didn't have to cut anything. So here's the old one. So, slack out of here. Take that wire, it can stay like that. Bring this like that. They're not even long enough. I know what I gotta do. I gotta add two of them together. There we go. So I got double stick tape here, and I just have to measure this. That. All right, that's going to go under here, like that. All right. I had the wife help me peel that last piece of double stick tape, and we've got everything attached now. So that controller's just, it's not going to come off of there. It'll come off with the lid, but so it came out, but that looks good. Everything's cleaned up in here. All right. Probably took maybe an hour to put it in, and then I spent a little bit of extra time trying to